If you want a deal that's on the level, come and visit Neville Breville at Neville Breville's new and used automobile showroom on Purakanui Road, East Tokomariro. This Saturday, Neville will be unveiling a 2004 Toyota Yaris. I can tell you now, I have already seen it, and it really is something. But if you want to know what colour it is, then you'll just have to come and see it for yourself. I am sworn to secrecy. As Heidi Klum used to say about her labia, my lips are sealed. I don't know why I said that, and I apologise. There will also be a bouncy castle for the kids, and a lolly scramble at 10 a.m. sharp. I'm surprised to see the lolly scrambles happening. Better hurry down to that before the PC brigade ban it for having gluten or something. God forbid we should risk anyone losing an eye to an egg and cream and Macintosh. Oh, Neville wanted me to remind listeners that the Toyota Yaris is not for sale, but is for display purposes only. Same goes for the bouncy castle. Please don't let your kids jump on it. It is only for display. Welcome back, and if you've just tuned in, you're listening to East Tokomariro Radio with me, Ngaire Bennett. East Tokomariro Radio! And it's a very exciting day here in the radio station because for the first time ever, our producer Joan has brought in a record. We've never had music before, so this will be something to write home about, won't it, Joan? We'll give you all a few minutes to make sure your family and your friends are all tuned in and listening, because I'm sure this is something they won't want to miss. And then all shall be revealed a little later on. That's after today's call centre. Remember, if you have any questions or comments for me, then just give us a ring here on East Tokomariro 82050. Taking a quick look at the community notice board this week, and Thursday is Ladies' Night at the West Tokomariro Montessori and Needle Exchange. So, bring the kids, bring your dirty needles, and the first Campari and soda is free. Do you know what? I'm not being snobbish, I'm really not, but sometimes I wish we didn't broadcast into West Tokomariro at all. Is that possible, Joan? Is there a way of bending our broadcast signal around Toko West? Have a look into that. No, I'm not being snobby. I think we're all pretty open-minded here in East Tokomariro. It's the hoity-toities up in North Toko who think they're all that in a bag of chips, with their lawn sculptures and their bloomin' speedboats clogging up their driveways. Do you know, I was at the North Toko Library the other day, and I took my books up to check them out, and the librarian was all sour-faced, you know the type, pearl necklace and tweed knickers. Anyway, I'm never one to let rudeness keep me from being polite, so I clocked her name tag, and it said Philomena, and I took my books and I said, "Thank you, Philomena." And do you know what she said? She gave me that little supercilious smile like they do, and she said, "Actually, it's pronounced Philomena." Can you believe that? I said, "I'm sorry." She said, "It's not Philomena, it's Philomena." I said, I'm so sorry. Can you pronounce that for me one more time?" She said, "Philomena." I said, "Do. She did not crack a smile. Now, I had a chuckle, but she just told me the library was closing and I had to get out. It was only 1:45. Very stuck up in Toko North. And why? Just because they've got a Masonic lodge and a vegan cafe. Do we have anyone on the line, Joan? Oh, we do. Oh, let me just do the jingle then. Call centre, call centre, call centre, call centre. That's right, it's time for call centre here on East Tokomariro Radio. East Tokomariro Radio. Now, who do we have, Joan? Jackie. Go ahead, Jackie. You're talking to Ngaire Bennett.
Hey, I'm just wondering if the moon cycles affect your moods.
Okay, I see what you're getting at there, Jackie. And I think you know it's both rather personal and unsuitable subject matter for afternoon radio. I know that also on the surface of it, you appear to be talking about what us ladies commonly refer to as our undertroubles, but I also suspect that you are making a reference to something a little more sinister, aren't you, Jackie? I know exactly what you mean with your moon cycles. Do you know who this is, Joan? You do? It's that Jackie runs the little shop in West Toko Shopping Arcade, sells tie-dyes and crystals and Himalayan rock salts, little water pipes that are strictly for use with tobacco, if you'll believe that. Now, you do know her. You know the one. deathly pale, big hair, worryingly thin, chain smoker, mouth puckered like a cat's asshole. I'm sorry, Jackie, that was inappropriate and I shouldn't have said that. I apologise. But my niece Bethany, she took me in your shop once, and I've seen that you've also got the tarot cards and the astrology, and I'm telling you now, Jackie, that is the occult, and that is the preserve of the devil. Now, I'm not saying you're a Satanist. In fact, I know you're not, because I've been into your shop and I've seen that on the counter you have a collection tin for muscular dystrophy. So I think you're probably a good person, and I'm not here to judge you. I am here to help. And don't get me wrong, Jackie, I like a scented candle as much as the next girl, but it's a very slippery slope from the water pipes to the Ouija boards to the witchcraft. And I know that it might seem very fashionable these days with the whole feminist empowerment thing to get together with your lady friends of a certain age and dance about in the woods with your bottoms out. But honestly, Wicca, or whatever you choose to call it, it's just another name for witchcraft. Thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. That's what it says in the book of Exodus. And do you remember the pop song Jump by Criss Cross, the little rapping boys? That song says, Wickabee, 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 whack. And you know what? Out of the mouths of babes, because they were right. Wicca does be whack. So I recommend you steer well clear of all that. Maybe consider stocking some Christian literature in your shop, perhaps some Amy Grant CDs. Or Evanescence. They're pretty with it, aren't they? The only other advice I would give you, Jackie, regarding ladies' secret cycles is that if you absolutely insist on dancing naked in the woods, then just be aware that sustained, vigorous movement will pop out a moon cup. I don't want to say too much, but I've seen it happen. A few too many strawberry Lindauers, and my sister Joyce got very vigorous at a wedding reception in Nelson. Honestly, it looked like a private screening of Carrie in her underpants, or that bit in The Shining where the lift doors open. I'd like to apologise to my sister Joyce. That was inappropriate for broadcast, and I am sorry. Anyway, I hope that helps. Jackie, does that help? Jackie? Oh, she's gone. Next on the telephone, who do we have, Joan? It's Lewis from East Tokomariro. How can I help you, Lewis?
Hi, Ngaire. Big fan of the show.
Thank you.
My son David, he picks his bogeys quite a lot, to the point where his nose bleeds sometimes, and he wipes them on the walls. And also the amount of bedwetting that goes on. I think he wets out more urine than he drinks, so I don't really know what's going on there. But that's my 17-year-old son, and I really would like your opinion. Thanks, Ngaire. Love the show.
Oh, very good, very good. It sounds like we've got a bit of a prankster, Joan. But well done, you've got your little joke in. I'm sure you're having a good laugh at our expense. Do you know what, Lewis, if that's even your real name? You are everything that is wrong with this country. When somebody like myself offers my decades of experience as a broadcaster and a churchgoer and, not a mother, but someone who has known and advised a great number of mothers, sometimes against their wishes if need be, there is always the risk that I am going to be mocked or, there's no other word for it, pilloried. I am being pilloried by the tall poppy brigade who just can't stand to see anyone make a go of it. It's very easy to snipe from the sidelines, isn't it, Lewis? To call up the radio and use disgusting words like bogey and pretend you have a 17-year-old bedwetter, which is a very real affliction, and you have no idea how many people you've just alienated with your ignorant comments. Well, you've had your laugh, well done. But have a think on this. While you were tying up our phone lines, what if an emergency had been trying to get through? What if an old lady has had a fall down the stairs and broken her hip and is at this very moment lying in a swastika of shattered bones? And what if a phone is just slightly out of reach of her hand, but as she fell, each bounce pressed in a button so that she accidentally dialed East Tokomariro 82050, and we could have been the only ones who heard her whimpering help in her tiny little old lady voice, and we could have triangulated the vectors or star 69 her or whatever, but no, because you, Lewis, had to call in with your bogey joke. Well, her blood is on your hands. And I hope that when you look into the eyes of her grandchildren and tell them what you did, I hope they all say to you, yes, Lewis, it was worth it. I'm glad Nana Pat is dead because it meant we got to hear your brilliant bogey joke. Call centre, call centre, call centre, call centre. Give us a call on East Tokomariro 82050. Who have we got, Joan? It's Heidi. Heidi from East Tokomariro. You're talking to Ngaire Bennett. What's your question, Heidi?
Hi Ngaire, what would your roller derby name be?
Oh gosh, I love this question. And you know why? It's fairly new here, this roller derby thing, but I love it. And this might come as a surprise to you, and may certainly come as a surprise to some of my fellow parishioners at the East Tokomariro Provisional Salvation Army, but I love the lesbians. I really do. You're a bunch of spunky chicks with your roller derby and your cool haircuts. I think you're really offering some good role models for our young women with your can-do attitudes and your skate-based physical violence. And you know what? I also love the gays. Now, I know that might ruffle some feathers, but I like their energy. I like that they're all glitter and unicorns on the weekend, but sensible haircuts and funky spectacles during the week. And that for all their perversity in the bedroom, most of them are conservative enough to vote National, which is something the lesbians could do well to heed. Now look, don't get me wrong, I am a very committed Christian and I do love the Bible. It's my favourite book, along with Eat, Pray, Love, and to a lesser extent the sequel Drink, Vomit, Cry, which, to be fair, was a bit of a depressing follow-up. But I'm going to be honest here, some bits of the Bible are a little bit mental. I know that Leviticus says something about men lying together as an abomination before God, but do you know what? Leviticus says everything is an abomination before God. Eating shellfish, abomination before God. Wearing mixed fibres, abomination before God. Bending your elbows or knitting a balaclava, abomination before God. I swear, if Leviticus were around now, he'd be that bloke that's always standing outside the dairy shouting at the bins. You'd cross the road to avoid him. So, that's my feelings on the matter. Lesbians, you're fine by me. Gay men, you have my blessing. It's the dirty bisexuals you've got to watch out for. Honestly, if you're listening to this and you're bisexual and you're equally happy with either one or the other, then why not just pick the good one and be done with it? You don't even have to be a lesbo or a homo. You could just be normal. Like, no offence, but you're disgusting, hopping from one to the other like a bunch of... Look, I apologise for the language, but a bunch of skanky sluts. And you know what? I do apologise for the language, but I will never apologise for the sentiment. I'm sticking to my guns on this one. Bisexuals, you are just insatiable perverts, and you should be forced to choose. Okay, sorry about that, Heidi. I forgot what the question was. Oh, that's right. What would my roller derby name be? Gosh, that is fun. Oh, I wonder. You've put me a bit on the spot here. Maybe something like Fiery Ngaire. I like the sound of that. That's a little bit spicy, isn't it? I like it. Fiery Ngaire. Or, Diarrhea, because I'll give everyone shit. Oh, that's a bit rude, though, that one, isn't it? Is it? It's good, though, isn't it? Oh, how about the Nibrator? Because once I'm on the rink, everyone gets fucked. I'm so sorry. That was inappropriate, and I apologise. I got a bit carried away there. Tempos are running high, and I apologise unreservedly to all our listeners. Was this? Oh, all right then. I've just been handed a note, and apparently I also apologise for what I said about bisexuals. It says here that I am deeply sorry, and that there is no evidence that bisexuals are any more promiscuous than anyone else, and that my opinions are my own, and do not reflect the views of East Tokomariro Radio. East Tokomariro Radio. Who's next on the line, Joan? It's Brian. Go ahead, Brian.
G'day, Ngaire. Phil here from Lawrence, the first town in New Zealand with free Wi-Fi.
Okay, let me stop you there, Phil. Firstly, sorry for calling you Brian. Secondly, I didn't know our broadcast reached as far as Lawrence, so this is very exciting. But thirdly, could you Lawrence people please stop banging on about your free Wi-Fi? Now, don't get me wrong, it's a very impressive feat, but why does every town in New Zealand have to be the first this or the best that? I was in Garston the other day, and do you know what their sign said? New Zealand's most inland village. Why do we care about that? Then you go 10 kilometres up the road to Athol, and they have a sign saying, a little bit closer to the sea than Garston. Well, what's next? New Zealand's least symmetrical faces. New Zealand's first meth lab. We're all the first at something. West Tokomariro was New Zealand's first recorded outbreak of pubic lice, but you don't see us putting up signs about it. Well, except for briefly in the mid-80s when we thought they'd gone airborne. Then for a little while there was a hastily erected billboard on the main road that said, now entering Crab Town, please roll up your windows. Anyway, what was your question, Phil?
My son, John, he's 17, and he said he wanted a vape. And I went to the store, and they said lots of people are doing it. It's a healthy option these days for kids so they don't smoke.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing I didn't get is that they actually smoke it out of their ass.
Okay, cut
I'm
him
just
off,
wondering
Joan.
whether that's
Joan, cut him off.
normal or...
I knew we didn't broadcast to bloody Lawrence. It's that bloody Lewis again. Listen, you might think you're funny, but if you call here again, then I will be making my own call to the police. Let's see how funny you like it then when you're in prison for harassment. With all the burly tattooed men who are suddenly very bisexual, and I'm sure they won't be remotely promiscuous apparently. I'm sick of this, Joan. No more calls. Just give me my timbrel. I'm doing the closing jingle. Give it to me. Call centre, call centre, call centre, call centre. There, you happy now? All done because of you. Bloody ridiculous. Okay, what's next? Oh, now this is exciting. And a bit of a first for this show. Joan has just handed me something. It's black, it's 7 inches, it has a hole in it, and it's a record. We've never had one on the show before, and it's really quite something. Just having a look at the label in the centre here, and it says it's called Dee-doo-doo-doo, Dee-da-da-da, and it's by The Police. And on the other side it says A Sermon, which is by... Oh, that's also by The Police. That seems a bit of a wasted opportunity. They could have popped someone else on there. But never mind, it's a record with 2 songs by The Police. Do we have anything to play it on, Joan? No? Nothing? You didn't think to bring one in? A player? A record player? No? Well, that's okay. It's still very exciting. Just looking back at the label, it has a little P in a circle, and it says 1980 A&M Records, and that it is written by Sting. And it also says MX57247. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have read that on the air. It might be Sting's phone number. He wouldn't print that on the record, would he? In case Paul McCartney needed to get hold of him for something? No, you're probably right. It's just a serial number, something like that. East Tokomariro Radio.